Hermes agent has crossed 160K stars in just 2 months, making it one of the fastest growing open source project that is out there. While most agents forget everything once you close a session, Hermes agent is something that not only remembers everything that you've done so far with it, but it is also something that gets better the more that you're going to use it. So if you're new to Hermes agent and you've been seeing it around a lot and you want to get started with it, this is going to be a masterclass where we'll cover everything from self-evolving skills, how the 3-tier memory system in Hermes agent work, how the agent evolves itself using GAPA, which is basically a technique wherein without changing the model weights, you can improve prompts and get the best performance out of it. This is something that has been accepted in ICLR 2026, the GAPA paper. So we'll talk more about it once we get into the video. And finally, what I'm going to show you is how you can build not just one, but 3 agents that are going to work 24/7 for you. So the first one is going to be Neo, which is a programmer that internally uses your cloud code and does anything that you want it to do. Then we are going to build a deep researcher, which basically gets you the latest and greatest pulse or news that is happening in the AI and machine learning space. You can customize it to your needs as well. That's fairly easy to do. And the third agent that we are going to build is going to be a designer. So Pixel is my designer, which understands my brand, which understands how I typically create designs. And interestingly, I'll show you a lot of examples. In fact, I have written an entire article on this Hermes agent masterclass, and all the designs that I created for illustrating or explaining the concepts were created by the designer itself, the Pixel designer that we are going to build today. So yeah, by the end of this video, you'll be able to reproduce all the work that I'm going to show you, and you can easily do it in just a few minutes. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So there are 2 ways to watch this video. If you're short on time, you can just skip to the get up and running section. I've divided the entire video into chapters. You can jump to the getting started chapter. The commands are going to work standalone. But the theory pays off. Knowing how skills evolve, how memory composes, and when GAPA earns its keep is the difference between using Hermes as a chatbot with notes and using it as something that compounds over time. The more you use it, the agents get better with you. All right, so now it's time to start with the demo. So as I mentioned earlier, we have these 3 agents. So first I'm going to, give you a quick demo of Neo, my programmer. So I can just ask it to do anything from me and it does it. So do some deep research about me and then help me build a personal landing page. To build the landing page, you need to internally use Cloud Code and then create a really nice index.html file for me. As you can see, it has started using the Cloud Code skill, and it is first going to do some deep research about me, like what exactly do I do, what platforms I manage. It also does some research about my company, our newsletter and all. So let's see how it goes, and let's see what kind of page it is going to build for us. All right, so this is the page that it has built for me. It has created a nice index.html. So it's a proper landing page about me. So let me show you how it actually looks. So this is the page that we have, right? And it has done some deep research about me, like what I do, where do I work, what I've done in past, about the different platforms where I post about AI, machine learning and all, what exactly is my reach and all. So it has created these nice tabs for me. If I go to writing, it takes me to our website page on Daily Dose of Data Science. And then we have courses. So yeah, so it takes me to this courses page as well. Along with that, you can directly go to my GitHub. Then it takes you to the AI engineering guidebook that I've written. So which is pretty amazing. So this is just an example of what it can do. I mean, you can ask it to do even more complicated tasks. It has its own workspace. You can just, delegate it a particular task. I have configured it in a way that whenever you're going to, ask it to build a project, it is first going to create a plan, then ask you a few follow-up questions. And once the plan is finalized, when the spec has been logged in, then only it is going to, start working on a particular project. So it's like, having access to Cloud Code, but this is something that you can, delegate directly from your Telegram, and you can use it whenever you want, anywhere you are. Then we have our second agent, which is Pixel. It creates own brand designs for me. As I already mentioned, the article that I wrote, all the designs that were present in this were created by Pixel itself. I just gave it a few basic prompt on what exactly I wanted to do, and it had the entire context, and it created all these designs for me. So coming back, let me show you a quick demo of how it works. I want you to create a really nice hand-drawn diagram illustrating the prefill and decode phase in LLM inference. So it has picked up the right skill. This is a custom skill that I created for it so that it understands my own brand values, how I create designs and all. And it can quickly run from just a few examples. So what you can do, like let's say if you are trying to do the same, you can bring a bunch of your design, just throw it at those examples and ask it to fully understand it, and then create a dedicated skill so that it can do it in a consistent manner. So let's see how the design comes out. Okay, so now you can see the design is here, and it has created a really nice illustration on what exactly is the difference between prefill and decode phase. And if I can show you by saving this, let me do that. Right, look at this. So it's a really nice and clean diagram, and the best part is every time that you are going to ask it to create something similar or some other illustration, it is going to stick to those design principles, like what background you're using, what kind of illustrations or doodles and icons that you're using. So it will stick to that, all thanks to the skill that we created. Now coming back, the final or the third bot that we created is our deep researcher. So this is basically something that scans all the latest GitHub repositories, paper, some trending news in the AI and machine learning space, so that it can keep me up to date about what's happening in the world. All right, so before we get into memory skills and all the cool stuff, you need a basic picture of how Hermes is structured. So that is exactly what is being represented in this diagram that we have created here. And trust me, this is really, really simple. Everything flows through this single AI agent class that is part of a script run agent.py. You can run Hermes through a CLI, Telegram, a batch runner, or an ID. All of them are entry points into the same core agent class that we just talked about. And this is what makes the platform agnostic story actually work. And second, it works with almost any model. A translation layer that you can see here routes any provider through one of the three API formats. That's why you can easily swap between Cloud Code, GPT, and Gemini, and even you can work with local models using Ollama as well. So nothing is going to break in that case. And the third and most important thing is, if you see this dotted box that is around the AI agent class, this is a 90 turn hard cap per task. So what I mean to say here is, without it, the agent can get stuck into a loop, like retrying a failing API or rereading the same file, and would silently burn through all your credits. And the sub agents are also going to share the same budget. So you should never be afraid that if you keep Hermes running on its own, it is going to burn through all your API credits. So this 90 turns hard cap is something that plays a very important role. And you can also change it based on your requirement as well. That is doable. But this is a really great guardrail or a safety measure that is being taken care of by Hermes team out of the box. And inside this AI agent class, basically what happens is we run a React loop where we think, act, and observe, typically how an agent works. So it's fairly simple. Just keep all of these things in mind, and now you know like from where you can use Hermes, and what all providers you can use it with, what kind of safety measures are being taken care of. So we don't want to dig into all the details of everything, how they work, but I just want to give you a broad picture of how it actually works under the hood. And in case if you need to understand a few things or customize a few things, you can easily do that. So before we get into memory and skill, there's a layer that sits above both, which is called as identity. And this is something that we store in the stole.md file. So the root Hermes folder always has a sol.md file. So a sol.md file is basically telling the agent like what exactly it is, what is its persona. So think of it like this. Memory is something that the agent knows. Skills are how the agent does things, but neither one of them tells who actually the agent is when it shows up to work. So without this identity layer, every agent feels like the same agent wearing different hats. And as I mentioned, sol.md is something that lives inside the .hermes folder, the root folder where you have created your agent. And it is something that occupies the slot number 1 in your prompt, system prompt, right? So this is something that sits at the top of the system prompt of the agent. And after that, slot 2 is memory. And then the slot 3 is skill files, all the skills that you have provided your agent. And finally, in the slot 4, we have the conversation history. An important thing to note about sol.md is like this is something that you write once, you tweak it over time, and it stays consistent across every project and every session that you're going to work with. And finally, to summarize, sol is the fixed frame. Memory and skills are the moving part because memory is going to change, skills are going to evolve and all. Everything the agent does later, the memory writes it, the skill creates it, and the way it consolidates knowledge happens through the lens of sol.md. And that's exactly what this feedback arrow on the right is representing. So every time when something happens, sol.md is something that is going to sit at the top of the system prompt, and rest of the things are going to happen based on this personality that you give to your agent. All right, let's talk about memory now. Hermes does not have a single memory layer. Actually, it comes with 3 memory tiers and each designed for its own purpose. So the tier 1, which you see here sitting at the top, it consists of 2 tiny markdown files, the memory.md and the user.md. Memory.md is capped at 2200 characters, and similarly user.md is capped at 1375 characters. Memory basically holds the agent's note about the environment, the project conventions, tools, things it learned the hard way. So all of these things are consolidated and stored into the memory.md. Similarly, user.md that we have here holds your profile, like your name, your communication preferences, your skill level, things you would want to avoid. So all of those user preferences are stored inside the user.md. This is basically done to give you a more personalized experience. So both of these files get ingested into the system prompt as a frozen snapshot when the session starts. So they are free to access. They are already in the context. Every turn, you do not need to do or make any sort of extra call. So this is something that always remains in the context. Now coming to tier 2. Tier 2 is the medium box. Every single conversation that you have on the CLI or on Telegram or wherever you want to do it gets stored into an SQLite database, which has a full text search enabled. So even if you want to search through a few week old chat, that is totally searchable and it happens on demand. The trade-off is clear though. Tier 1 is always inside the context, but it's tiny. Tier 2 is unlimited, but it costs you to do a search call, and then it also takes an LLM to summarize that result that we get out of it, right? So this is how it works. Then at the bottom, we have tier 3. So this is where Hermes works with 8 plug and play external memory providers. So you can use your favorite memory provider in this case and plug it with Hermes. People often want to go with the knowledge graph based memory storage, temporal knowledge graphs and all of that. So all of that is easily doable. So just for the completeness, I have shared all the 3 memory tiers and how they are work and how you can work with them. In the description, I'm going to share links to all the documentation so that you can understand more about, let's say, if you want to integrate an external memory source, how you can do that. So that's fairly simple. This is how the memory system or the 3-tier memory system in Hermes agent works. So the bottom line here is critical facts live in memory. Everything else is searchable, and you store it, all the session and everything that happens in SQLite database, which is searchable. And when you need deeper persistence, you can bolt on any external provider. So that is the theme of how the memory works. So before we talk about self-evolving skill, I want to give a quick introduction to what skills are and how they work. So memory is something that handles facts. Skill is something that handles procedures. Hermes has a mechanism of self-evolving skills, which is something that generally does not exist in any other open source agent that is out there. So before we talk about self-evolving capabilities, I want to give you a quick introduction about what skills is and what exactly is the progressive skill disclosure mechanism and why do we need it. So to understand skill is just a markdown file, right? And it starts with a YAML front matter that contains the name of the skills and the description of what it does. So what the agent does is Instead of, let's say you have created hundreds of skill, it does not mean that you are going to load all of those skills inside your context, because then you are going to, it is going to cost you a lot of money, because you're using a lot of unnecessary tokens, because maybe you just need 2 skills. There's no use to, load the remaining 98. So in that case, what happens is, at level 0, when the agent is working on a particular task, it loads the YAML front matter of all the skills that are available to it. Like, so this is just this small part that we have here. And then based on that, it understands like which is the relevant skill for a particular task that it is currently doing. Once that is identified, what it does is at level 1, it is going to progressively disclose the rest of the body of the skill. So this is the procedure, pitfalls and verification, like all the things, like what exactly the skill does or what exactly it is supposed to do. All of this is loaded or disclosed at level 1. So most of the time you do not need to go to level 2. Within level 1, the agent understands like what exactly it needs to do, and then it takes care of the task. But let's say sometimes skills also have references to other scripts or other, let's say, design principle, some of the things that are more important to you. So all of those things are stored inside references and scripts. So once the skill is fully loaded and agent feels that, okay, like it also need to refer a particular script or run a particular script to actually execute the particular task, or then only it is going to load all these references and script. So this is how the progressive skill disclosure works in Hermes agent. I think every good agent does that. Cloud Code also does that, and it's very important because you do not want to waste your tokens by loading everything into context all the time. Now this is what makes Hermes agent different from rest of the agent that are present out there, and it is called as self-improvement loop. So let's say you assign your Hermes agent a particular task, and in the very first time when it is trying to finish that task, it is encountering a lot of problem, right? So let's say the agent gets a task and it encounters certain problems. So it does some trial and error, it does multiple iterations to complete that and all. And once it sees that, okay, to complete this task, I have already taken, more than 5 tool calls or more than 5 steps. So that is basically something that triggers a skill managed tool. Now, skill managed tool is something that understands that, okay, if a particular task is important, but I had to take multiple steps in order to complete it. So in future, if I'm going to encounter the same task, instead of, repeating all those things, going through trial and error and wasting a lot of tokens and time, how about I create a nice procedure and store it as a skill? So this is exactly what skill manager is going to do. Every time when the agent encounters that it is taking multiple iteration or it is doing more than 5 tool calls, it is going to call skill manage and store that entire procedure to complete that task inside a skill. Now this skill is saved, and next time when you encounter similar problem, it is going to load the skill, follow the exact roadmap or exact steps that it learned during the very first time, and is going to finish the job for you. So although it's a very simple procedure, but to implement it and to efficiently do it, this is something that makes Hermes agent stands out, and it also helps it to quickly learn with you. And that is exactly the meaning of when we say that this is an agent that learns with you, that compounds with time. So self-evolving skills are a major part of that, and this loop is kind of representing the entire process of how this self-evolving process works. Okay, now there's an obvious problem with the self-evolving loop that I just showed you. Let's say you've been using your agent for a very long time, 6 months or a year. And by that time, it might have encountered a lot of tasks wherein it had to make more than 5 tool calls, or it had to do multiple iterations to complete them. Probably because of the self-evolving skill mechanism, or what we just saw, it might have created hundreds or thousands of skills. Now, this is going to, clutter your context, and it might start confusing your agent, like, okay, what skills are important, and maybe like there can be a lot of near duplicate skills as well, right? Because there are multiple tasks that are kind of close to each other. So if both of those tasks took more than 5 tool calls, your agent might have already created 2 separate skills for it. So what I'm trying to say here is there's an obvious problem with this skill managed tool that we have, like it might end up creating a lot of redundant or unnecessary skills as well. So this is exactly where the curator comes in. So curator is a background maintenance activity that happens in the background, and it tries to identify like which skills are important and which skills are not. So if it sees that okay, some skills are not important, it is going to archive them or remove them, and they are not going to be part of your active collection. So you can think of curator as a garbage collection mechanism for Hermes. The curator runs every 7 days. First, it sees like whether we have done this garbage collection or sweep in last 7 days or not. And if this condition is met, it is also going to see whether the agent has been idle for more than 2 hours or not. If both of these conditions are met, then it is going to kick off the curator, and it is something that happens in the background, does not interfere with any of your active session or anything that you're already doing. And it does this cleaning in 2 stages. So in phase 1, it marks the skills as unused. So let's say in last 30 days, you have not used any skill, it is going to mark it as stale. And if you have not used any skill in last 90 days, it is going to archive that. So it is going to archive that, but it is not going to remove it. So if you feel like some of the skills are still important, I might not have used in last 3 months, but might use it in future, that is something that can still be recovered. Then in phase 2, all the skills that are going to pass through this, or let's say survive these the phase 1, are going to run through, or they're going to be more closely scrutinized using an LLM, right? So we have a phase 1 because this filtering mechanism quickly helps us sort out the skill without making an additional LLM call. But in phase 2, we are actually going to use an LLM to identify like whether a skill is important or not, whether 2 skills are, let's say, near duplicate or not. So this is where it decide whether to keep those skills, whether to pass them. Maybe we need to update them based on certain new conditions that we have seen, or whether we again need to archive them because they are kind of useless at this moment. And the consolidation step is again very important. Let's say there are near duplicate skills. There are 3 skills that are kind of doing the similar task. So it is trying to consolidate them and merge them into a single skill whenever it's possible. That said, it has a really nice safety mechanism. So all the pre-built skills are already safe from curator. It is not going to touch them, and it never auto deletes them. And in case you feel like okay, there are certain skills that you would never want the curator to touch, you can just run this command Hermes curator pin, and you add the skill name. It is never going to touch that skill again. Yeah, so that's how the curator works. It's a very important thing that you understand it and that you know it. And in case you want some of the skills to be fully protected against it, you can use this curator pin. So this is the most important part to learn here and take away. And coming to the next part, which is the GAPA optimization pipeline. So I'm not going to jump into details of like how this works, but it is an important concept that I still wanted to touch during this video. I can share more details into something that I've already written on it, so that you can take a look at how exactly GAPA works and where you can use it. So basically the idea is, let's say you've been using your agent for a very long time, but you still feel like, okay, there are certain things that I want to change, or I need a little more control into how I optimize my skills and all those things. So this is where GAPA comes into picture. So it is actually a separate project under Noose Research. So Noose Research is the same team that have built the Hermes agent. And GAPA is something that has been recently accepted in the ICLR 2026 as well. So it is basically a prompt optimization technique, right? So instead of trying to fine tune your model and change its weight so that it can match your taste or it can do your task better, the first thing that you should be trying to optimize different sort of prompts that you have across your entire pipeline. I have actually written a really nice, I covered this in the article that I wrote as well. So I also try to differentiate it with the GRPO, like instead of doing RL right away, what are the advantages of using GAPA? And the GAPA paper also clearly shows that the benefits of using GAPA and in a lot of scenarios, and it easily outclasses an RL optimization. And this is something that you can easily do on a CPU as well. You do not need any sort of GPU and all, right? Because you're not actually trying to change the model weights. I have also written a really good article on this. If you want to read it, I'll share this link in the description of the video as well. But if you're watching it on X, you can just go and check my articles, and you would see like how to beat GRPO without using touching any model weights. So this goes into details of how exactly GAPA works and how you can use it with the existing multi-step agent workflow that you're using. So now that we've covered all the theory and all the fundamentals of what an Hermes agent is, it's now time to jump in and get up and running with your own agent. So we'll go through the entire installation setup process. We are going to create multiple profiles, add custom skills, and then use all those agents from Telegram. So let's get started. And the first thing that we need to do is to install Hermes on your computer. I would recommend like either you do it on a machine that you are not actively using, or it should not be your primary machine, because there's something that can take control of your entire machine, or you can deploy it on any VPS service. Like there are a lot of providers out there, DigitalOcean, Hostinger, and you only need to like pay, $5 to $10. But anyways, like if you have a spare machine, it can easily run on it. So let's go through the installation setup. So now you can see I'm in my terminal, and I just went to the Hermes documentation, and in the installation you have a single command to install Hermes. So let's run this. Okay, so now the first thing that we need to do is either you can go via the full setup, but I think this is the recommended way. So let's go with the quick setup. So we are going to set up the model and the messaging channel. Now you have multiple options here. You can either use Nuis's own portal, or you can use Open Router. But one of the best ways to use it is using your existing subscription with either Anthropic or OpenAI. So in my case, I'll be going with the Anthropic. So we have multiple options here, as you can see. So basically, if you already have a Cloud Max plan or something, you can easily use it here. So I'll go with the re-authentication because I already authenticated it. The option one is Cloud Pro or Max subscription. So I'll go with option one here. Just need to click authorize, and yeah, we're ready. So we have set up the model provider here. In case if you're using Open Router or some other provider, you would have provided your API key in here. So maybe we'll try that mechanism also when we are going to try out a new profile. So for now, let's go with Opus 4.7, keep current. So before we do anything, let's set up the messaging channel as well. So I'll go with Telegram. Now I need to provide a bot token. So let me go to my Telegram. So this is my Telegram, and you need to go to this bot father channel, right? So look for the verification tick mark. Do not message anything anywhere else. So once you go to bot father, all you need to do is to create a new bot. And there's a command for that, /new bot. And now we'll provide a name for this bot. So let's call it a programmer. We're going to use this bot, or let's say the agent that we're going to create as a programmer. We'll give it access to our own cloud code for everything that it is going to do. I'll show you in a bit like how you can do the same. So let's call it programmer. And then we also need to provide some sort of username for it. So it can be something random. And it should end with _bot, which is what I'm doing here. Right, so we have the bot token available here. Now I'll come back to terminal, paste the bot token here. Now it is asking for allowed user IDs. So again, you get the message to find your Telegram user ID, message @userinfobot on Telegram. It will reply with your numeric ID. So let's do that. Maybe you just, right? So it gives you your ID. This is all you need to do. So let's use this ID and paste it here. So meanwhile, let's go to Telegram, and this is the bot that we created, the programmer. We'll click start and say hello, what you do for me. You can see it has already started typing. Correct. So it says that, hey Akshay, I'm Hermes running on Claude, your assistant with persistent memory skills tool for coding, research, and scheduling. So it already has a lot of skills, but what I want this particular bot is to be my programmer and use Claude code for any project that it is working on, right? So instead of burning through any additional tokens and all, so Hermes already has a bundled or built-in skill for Claude code. I'll show you more about all the skills that are available on Hermes Skill Hub, but this skill is already there, and we just need to make sure that this bot understands that we want to use it as a programmer, and internally for working on any project it should be using Claude code. I want you to be a programmer who internally uses Claude code for all the project that you work on. To do that, I already have a max subscription and you should be using that. So it is checking the available skill Claude code. Now it says that Claude code is installed and authenticated with the Claude Max plan. So there are a couple of things it is going to ask. So it has already saved this inside its sol.md, what it is supposed to do and all. And now there are two modes that you can use Claude code with. Either there's one short task wherein you just specify a task, Claude code runs in the background, it does it for you and finally returns the result. Or you can use it in the exploratory manner or iterative and exploratory work. So let's say you want to interact with the session or the coding session or whatever the Claude code is doing. Maybe you want to provide a human in the loop feedback and all. So in that case, you can use it for the in the iterative or exploratory work, right? So these are the two modes that you can choose with. And so for now, we'll go with the one shot task mode. Along with that, I just wanted to specify a couple of more things. So let's say you want to add more skills to your Hermes agent. So actually this is an official skill hub for Hermes agent. So your agent already comes with the 89 built-in skills. So, and then there are a bunch of optional skills, and then there are a lot of community skills as well. So if I go here on terminal, I'll also show you the entire project structure of how or what the anatomy of a .hermes folder is. We'll see that as well. But as you can see, it already has a lot of built-in skills. Let's say there are a lot of skills for if you're in the Apple ecosystem, and then there are a lot of skills for creative work, DevOps, and gaming. So these are here, and these are all the 89 skill that they're calling as the built-in skill, because every time that you are going to install Hermes, it will make sure that it has all these skills already bundled in. So now if you want to add some additional skills, you can directly search about them here. So for example, before searching, I would recommend like you can go through all these categories, like whatever is your area of interest. Now you already have Claude code set up for you. And let's say you are again, want to build a really good coding or software development agent. So in that case, you can go to these skills. A lot of them are already installed and bundled, and you do not need to separately install them. But there are a few like, okay, so there's this skill called AWS Guru. Like if you're actively working with the AWS, this is a skill that can help you answer all the questions about AWS. And maybe, it can help your agent understand more about, let's say if it is stuck in a task, if it wants to create a new instance, work with it and all. So it can use all those skills in combination with what we already have as Claude code. And that is totally subjective to whether you want to do some creative task. If you are in a finance domain, and then there are a lot of skills in finance, you can easily combine it with, again, Claude code, or you can use them independently. It's fairly simple. You just need to, go here, copy this command, and then just go to terminal and run this skill, right? So it is going to add it as one of the available skill with your Hermes agent. And if you want to interact with your agent from the CLI, you just need to type Hermes, and it is going to, start everything for you. So you can interact with it from here itself. And instead of going to skills hub, you can also check like what are all the skills that are available. So you can browse through skills, you can search for skills, inspect and install them. So it's fairly easy to do it from the terminal itself, and you can also do it from the Telegram as well. So now that you understood like how to create a Hermes agent connected to Telegram, now if you want to go from, let's say, so this is a programmer, now you want to build a designer. So, and the designer and programmer should be, two separate profile and should work independently, should have their own board. So that is something that we're going to see next. So in order to do that, all you need to do is so in this case, we are going to create a new profile or a new agent, and we are going to call it as a designer. So you just need to run this command, Hermes profile create designer. So now it says that it has already created a profile, but we still need to, set up its model and all those things. So it says that you can, customize this. So all you need to do is to, run designer setup. So again, it is going to take you through the designer setup process. We already done that. I'll quickly show you again what you need to do. First, you need to select a model provider. So in this case, instead of going with the cloud code, we are going to select open router. I need to provide my key for open router. So let me pull that and paste it here. And now you can select any model that you want to use. So I would recommend going with the Kimi K2.6, which is a great model, and it does not cost a lot, and it kind of gives you, Opus level performance at a much cheaper price. Quickly set up the messaging as well. So created a new bot called a designer. We'll post the bot token here, and we'll use the same user ID that we have here, and we are all set. So our designer is also ready. So now I want this designer to be able to understand my design styles and be able to create similar design going forward. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a new skill for it. So I've shared these 4 images with the agent. So this is a good example that we have here. So we wanted to have some good hero text here, create a nice graphic and create a doodle. So these are some of the design principles that I wanted to capture. I've provided an example of multiple banners, right? The 4 that you can see here. And based on that, I wanted to, understand my design style, like what kind of text I'm using, what kind of graphics I'm using, what kind of background I'm using, and then wanted to, create a dedicated skill for reproducing this work in future as well. So let's go back to our Telegram bot. As it says that it has fully understood all of these images, like what exactly they are doing, the design principle. I want you to carefully understand and analyze the design principle that is being used in creating these banners. All of these have an aspect ratio of 5:2. And I want you to create a dedicated skill for banner generation that is inspired from these examples that I already shown you. You can add these 4 examples as a reference for your skill. And in order to generate the image, first we are going to use Opus to write the prompt for image generation model. And then you already have Open Router key, and we'll be using Google's Nano Banana Pro. So write a script for, once you have written the prompt for generating the banner for a particular task, then we'll be using that script to make a call to Nano Banana Pro, and then you generate the banner and send it back to me. So create a dedicated skill for that, so that I can, repeat this procedure and use it again and again whenever I need it. So I have provided kind of a detailed instruction on what I wanted to do with all these example images. So now it is taking care of all of that, and hopefully it will create a new skill for us. So it is giving some peek into like the design analysis that it did. The format and canvas 5:2 aspect ratio, the topology, illustration should be hand drawn, the color palette like warm cream background should be there, and yeah, so the composition rule and all. So it is kind of distilled down the design principles that it captured from the example images, and now it is going to work on that and add it to the skill that it is going to create for us. All right, so it tested the generated skill. It has already created it, and it created this design for me, which is pretty much similar to the examples that I gave it. So it did a great job, and internally, like it has created a skill. Will go through the anatomy of the entire Hermes folder as well. But before, let's quickly test it out. I'm writing an article on speculative decoding in LLMs. Help me generate a banner for that article. So there's actually something that I'm going to work on. So I'm asking it to, if it can create a good design for me. Let's see how it goes. So the name of the skill that it has created for us is hand-drawn banner. All right, so it has created a nice banner for us that you can see here. Yeah, it's simple, effective, and nicely conveys the idea. It has a hero text, it has some illustration and some nice doodles to explain all of it. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to show here. So now let me take you to a quick tour of how the Hermes folder is structured. So this is the anatomy of the .hermes folder. All the things that are important, you can check them here. Like the sol.md is here. So this is the sol.md for our primary agent, which is our programmer. And then we have this folder created for profiles. So since we created designer as a separate profile, so it is here, and it has its own sol.md, right? And this is something that ideally we should be updating manually, or you can ask the agent to update it for once, and then you can everything that it is going to do from the lens of this sol.md. So ideally, like we should add here, like you are a designer, we talk about we add information about your taste, what you're supposed to do, and what you're good at. So all of those things can be added in here. And if we see, this profile is going to have its own set of skills as well. So there are some built-in skills, and then we are also going to have a skill for creating the hand-drawn banner. So this is something that we created, right? So this is the skill that was created based on the instruction that we provided it. So it has a script for generating the banner. So it is calling Nanobrana Pro using OpenRouter's API key, which is what we asked it to do. So because this is a deterministic task, once you have created a prompt, all you need to make an API call. So instead of letting the model try out different things every time, we create a script for this deterministic process, right? So the skill.md is the main entry point, and in here we have provided all the instruction as to like what the skill name is, what the description is, and what are the helper files it can use. So it has some templates as well, and some references as well. So the design system, like what exactly it is supposed to do, and the background color, how the heading should look like, and stuff like that. So these are all the references, and in the assets it has stored all those 4 images that we had, right? So these were the 4 images. So it has all those reference images in the assets. All right, so I mean, we did not have to make a lot of effort to create this skill. We just need to prompt the assistant in the right manner, and it use its internal skill create system to create a new skill for us that we can use over and over again. So I recently posted about this on my X as well, about the anatomy of .hermes folder. So one thing that I wrote here is you won't manually edit most of these files, but knowing this layout means you understand exactly where identity, memory, skills, automation, and the state lives, and how they are connected to each other. So it gives you a lot more idea into like how the Hermes agent and how everything inside it is structured. Like you have configuration file, then your knowledge file, which is your memory and all. Then you have your skills, which is basically your capabilities, what the agent can do. Then there's runtime state, automation, extension. So you can, it has a slash cron folder as well for all your cron jobs. So you can come and take a look at it and maybe modify it as per your requirements. And then it has logs as well. So for observability, like everything that is happening, everything is going to be, logged inside this folder. So this gives you a broad understanding of how the Hermes agents folder is structured, and it also gives you more idea on how you can leverage all these capabilities. So it's very important to know it. Along with that, as I mentioned earlier, I've written this article here as well, and there's one more thing that I really wanted to highlight is so let's say you're working in a team. In your company, or let's say you have your own team in your startup, and you are working on a lot of skills that you would also want to share with your team. So there's something really interesting that Hermes provides for that, right? So we already talked about adding new skills from skills.hub, and then there is another interesting thing, that like how you can add any GitHub repository using the custom tab that is available in Hermes. So basically, let's say you have a repository of skills that you are using across your team, that you can collaborate on, that you can version control and all. So all you need to do is to do this Hermes skills tab, add your repository, like your username and your skills repo. So now this all the skills inside this repository are going to be available on tab, and then you can again use this standard command to install any skill from that repository. So just wanted to mention here, like it does not always have to come from skills hub. It can come from your own private GitHub repository as well, and you can add it to your Hermes agent, and you can collaborate on all those skills. And another thing that I covered yesterday was this skill bundle thing. So this skill bundle thing is something that that is new, that came in Hermes, right? So instead of so let's say if you have a real world workflow that is using multiple skills, right? So instead of loading individual skills one by one, you can create skill bundles. So for example, let's say there's a backend feature skill, or backend feature skill bundle that you're creating. So every time when there is a new backend feature that you're creating, so there should be a skill to review the code. There should be a test-driven development as well, and that there should be a GitHub PR workflow as well, right? So all of these skills that are related to this particular workflow can be bundled in, and it's fairly simple. You can name the bundle similar to how you name a particular skill. Then you can provide the set of skill that it is going to have, like what all skills are going to get triggered in tandem with it at the same time. And then you can provide some custom instruction on how you want these skills to execute. Maybe like you use the skill 1 first, 2 after it, and then finally use skill 3. So something like that, any custom instruction that you want to provide. So I found this to be a really powerful feature, so just wanted to highlight it here as well. So yeah, with that we come to the end of this video, and in the next one I'm also planning to do another tutorial which is on Hermes Kanban. So basically we'll be doing multi-agent orchestration. So we'll have a Kanban board. We are going to create task. Each task is assigned to an agent. So you can think of it like we are going to build a fully autonomous software development team, where we'll have a manager, we'll have a designer, we'll have a backend engineer, we have a UI expert as well. So all of them are going to work in tandem. You can visualize and see like them on a Kanban board as well. You can assign them tasks and all. So it is going to be a really great demo. I'm also excited about it. So just stay tuned. I'll be doing an next article on it. I'll also be publishing it on my YouTube as a video as well. And with that, we come to the end of this demo. And as always, thank you so much for sticking around till the end. And I'll see you in the next one.